This is a redemption story, right?
You know, that's a good place to start, Tom. This is a story of redemption. I think we did, when we first started the show, we were talking about nonsense before we knew what it was going to be. It was like probably a full calendar year of nonsense,
It was,
if not
Pat, it was
2
years.
It was 2. And we, before we came back and did the music tilt, we had attempted to do a Blink-182 episode at one point, and we had also attempted to do a Scrubs episode at one point, and we butchered both of them horribly. I think they're on YouTube if you want to dig. I know some of you are going back through the archives. Power to you, but also, please, God, stop. I'm just kidding. You can listen to whatever you want to. It's honestly very cool. But also, some of those old episodes, sometimes, like Melissa, for example, one of our listeners is like, hey, do you guys, seems like a weird one. We're like, yes, it doesn't get much better. Doesn't get much better the deeper you go. But all of that to say, we wanted to, this is a redemption and also an audition to get on the Real Doctors, Fake Friends. I always mix that up. Fake Doctors, Real Friends, Scrubs rewatch show. Hopefully we can get this into Joelle and hopefully get on. Our dream is to be on the episode where they go over My Point of No Return. That episode ends with Say Anything, Alive with the Glory of Love, JD and Elliot about to throw it all away to
go nuclear.
Go on again as opposed to off again. So we wanted to do an episode, a Scrubs draft. I wanted to a couple things to keep in mind. This isn't, we like ABBA and we like Boston.
Sure.
And we like all those songs. But this is through the lens of our show. We are going to still try to keep it to the Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, Garden Statey, Jennifer's Body, like music, TVs and movies that kind of shaped whatever. So we're going to keep it as close as we can to the subgenre the show covers, which honestly is not very difficult to do. Scrubs was very formative in our musical taste. I don't think there's any secrets there.
What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast.
Do you have any thoughts about the old version of the Scrubs episode we did, this new one coming forward? We've been trying to think of creative ways to backlog a few episodes before you move across country with your wife, so you don't have to have stress of recording while on the road. So we've been really getting after it. We're in the vault. We don't know what came before it this week necessarily. We don't know what's going to come after, but all we know is that we wanted to do this Scrubs Redemption episode, a Scrubs mixtape draft of sorts.
Yeah, so episode 29, Gotta Stay True to the Cool Cats, the Scrubs episode was our first attempt. And Pat, it is 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 4 seconds of, hey, remember that one thing? Yeah, I remember that one thing. Remember that one thing? Yeah, I remember that one thing.
Honestly, I think it was mostly us recalling our favorite Todd high fives, if memory serves.
Looking through this, though, in our links is Hey Julie by Fountains of Wayne.
Hey, teaser alert there. Let's not spoil anything too much here. I think we've already named 2 of the songs we're going to pick for this mixtape.
Let's just start the episode.
Yeah, before we get too deep, welcome everybody.
All right, so this is a draft, a formal draft, right? Prison rules, and
yes, prison rules as always. If you listen to the show, you know what we're talking about. In the sense that
I don't know what we're talking.
I don't know what that means either. Exactly, but yeah, usual rules. Snake draft, which sounds like a prison nickname, I guess. I have no idea, but yeah. One of us goes first, and then the next person gets 2 picks, and then 2 picks until we get to, I think this week we're going to do 5 each, trying to construct the best possible mixtape from, sometimes it's discographies of bands, sometimes it's, years, 2005, 2004, 2003, sometimes it's Scrubs, So going to have some fun with this one. I think, do you have some dice, Tom?
I don't have dice. But I have a number of candles on my desk.
I love it.
Do I have an even number or an odd number of candles on my desk?
I thought I felt some inflection. Usually it's dice, so this is the most like I've had to try to read you to try to get the number right so I can try to pick whether to go first or not. Give me even. I'm gonna stay even. Stay true to the cool cats.
Ooh, stay true to the cool cats. I have 5 candles on my desk, Pat. So...
Tom, what are you doing, man?
And 4 of them are the same candle. There's this candle from Target that I think smells really good, so I just have them all over my desk.
Oh, there are 4.
There's 5. So I guess I'll...
You want to go first? You get the choice to go first or go second and third, which a mixtape of this size, which is a little smaller, might be more to your advantage because you get the second and third. Those are the power picks, I feel like. So not that I'm trying to sway the decision or anything.
I feel like you're definitely leading me to something, but I agree with you. There's 2 picks that I really, really want, so I'd love to get them back to back if possible.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pick this one because I wanted to talk about this band actually on the show for a while, but I don't know if it qualifies as pop punk or emo, but it's definitely one of the bands that got crazy popular in high school, shooting onto the scene with their treadmill music video. Always super creative.
Oh.
Okay, go. Here it goes again. Season 6, My Mirror Image. I don't know if you recall, JD has purchased a half acre with Mandy Moore. I'm not sure they're together at this point, but his porch has become, he hasn't built a full house, but there's a porch on the half acre.
Ran out of money, right?
It's become, but that doesn't mean it hasn't become a hotspot of sorts, but for the local gay community.
Right.
And so JD has a little bit too much to drink on this evening, and the local gay community sweeps him off his feet, and they drive to Las Vegas. And the backdrop to that wonderful road trip is Here It Goes Again by OK Go, which wanted to kick it off, mostly because I like doing the drafts because they give us a chance to talk about songs we might not normally get to. But thoughts on... Well, wow, there's a lot to cover, I guess, on this one. But I guess first of all, let me ask you about their treadmill music video. Do you remember where you were the first time you watched that?
I recall seeing it like by proxy of like other pop culture stuff. I don't know if I've ever actually seen that video. I've seen a lot of their music videos though, because they are incredible. But I do remember like a ton of buzz around like an art project of sorts within a music video, like the one shot, one take kind of thing.
It was crazy creative. Yeah, the one take thing where it was like only 12 seconds of actually recording where they slowly go in a certain, it's like they managed to top it every time, which is fantastic. Good for them. I mean, the music's fine. Yeah. The music's good. It's catchy, but I think it's really the creative power coming from that band. But I'm glad it made it into the show, and we can get into more on this later, but I think seasons 4, 5, and 6 are the money seasons. I don't know if you would agree. We can get into more on that later, or less on that later. And I don't know if this is the scene we really need to be delving. But I did want to get that first pick out of the way because I was excited when I saw OK Go. And I don't know if Scrubs introduced me to it necessarily, but props to the music video, props to the half acre. That was like weirdly for a minute, like I want a half acre, like I want to expand my portfolio. Basically just living your life through what you see on TV when you're a teen in like a small Rust Belt town. Just like, yeah, man, this is not only hilarious, but I'm going to blindly follow this path for life.
So before we get any further, I want to ask you 2 questions.
Yeah, please do.
Is the musical episode off the table?
That's a really interesting question. I don't think it necessarily has to be.
Oh God, that fucks me up.
Well, that
maybe it should.
Also fun. We should lay down the ground rules because Guy Love would have gone first, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, if you want to pick it, be my guest. I was hoping to stay true. This is kind of weird because you want to pay homage to the show, but also keep it something that would qualify for an episode of our show as well.
Okay,
maybe we can talk about
musical.
It later in the honorable mentions. Yeah, that's too good. It's like in a vacuum, I feel like.
Right.
Yeah, these are songs that helped form our musical taste through the watching of one of our favorite shows, I think. Right.
It also, so there's a couple picks in here that are going to be super fucking obvious for me, but some not so much. But a couple of the picks are based on the song. A couple are based on the moment that was happening in the show when the song happened. So
yeah, I think it could be either or. I don't think you have to rank them for one reason or the other. However it spoke to you, and we can reevaluate at the end who has the better mixtape. I will say that we skipped over one quick fun fact that I think maybe pretty commonly well known at this point, but it's talked a lot about on the Fake Doctors, Real Friends show, where if you had the DVDs, you have the original music that went with the show, but if you stream it, the music rights and everything is different. So you get a different watching experience just in general. Some of the songs didn't translate directly. So I feel very lucky. That's like kind of the only DVDs I own are all the Scrubs DVDs. My sister, I think we talk about on the show, she got me like a binder full of Burn CDs one year for Christmas. Then another Christmas was like all the Scrubs DVDs. She's honestly, my sister's a very good gift giver.
Yeah.
I'm a lot worse. I'm a lot worse than her. I'm realizing I have not gotten her like, I think I got her like an Aziz Ansari stand-up special like once or something. But yeah, I will say that I haven't watched a full streaming version, mostly because I mostly just rely on the DVDs when I go back to rewatch. But I'm curious what the most like devastatingly noticeable replacements are. Because I noticed Avril Lavigne was on the list, but I went to Scrubs Wiki and it said the Avril song they put in was in place of something that had been originally there in the first place. So I don't know if I was ready to count it or not. But just an interesting tidbit there before we get too deep.
Yeah, it's interesting how like streaming rights are different than maybe that is like syncing or like, you know, onto DVD. For a while, my mom, I think, or my sister was getting me the Scrubs DVD. So I had seasons like 4 through 7 or something, and I don't know where they've gone. I probably just thought, I don't need these, I can just stream them. But yeah, with the kind of recent knowledge that the music is different.
Yeah, I'm not giving those things, because you always look at them, you're like, am I going to drag these to every house? And it's like, right. It's whittled down. I think it's like a copy of High Fidelity, a copy of like Saving Silverman or something, and then all the Scrubs DVDs basically are like the only DVDs I have left.
Nice. Well, yeah, okay, go. I don't think we would talk about them on the show otherwise.
I just got excited. I'm willing to admit there are better picks, but I'm also dying to know what you would have picked second and third. I just wanted to kick it off. That's a fun one. We haven't really had a chance to talk about that band yet.
Also, the Half Acre narrative of the show is like one of my one of my favorite parts. Like when they take him to Vegas, he's like kind of f***ed up, right? And he's shows
hammered.
him.
He's hammered.
It shows him with the silk scarf around, and they put him on the back of the scooter. So he's like, "Let's go, girls!"
Yeah. No, he's definitely having a good time.
God, I f***ing love Scrubs. Remember that one time? Okay. So anyone who's listened to more than one episode and has an idea of what I would pick can probably so easily know the two I'm going to pick. And I'm going to try so hard, Pat, to not tell the same stories. But both of these picks happened at my wedding. They're going to remind me mostly of that. And interestingly enough, the first one comes from season 8, episode 2, My Last Words. I'll Follow You Into the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie comes on.
I'd get mad that you always figure out a way to talk about this song on the show, but also this is not an example where I think it's also one of your top 3 songs ever. I think our buddy Zach played it. I know I was there, but at your wedding played it on acoustic. It's very near and dear. So if we're on one of the shows you love, say what you want about what happened after season 8, I guess. But that was like the
I like
interesting 9, Muppety ABC return season kind of. Started strong, if nothing else. Pretty powerful episode. I think you made it, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, Dave Franco, Eliza Coupe, Aziz Ansari, they all joined the cast. I don't hate season 9. I'm glad it exists. But yeah, we're still in season 8, and this might be one of the most impactful episodes that they've ever done. I don't want to show my hand too much, but yeah, My Last Words. We're going to steak night. We're going to eat it right. What is it? It's such a treat. It's the world's best meat or something.
Yes. There's such a thing in my head about whether or not it should have ended after the fairy tale Princess Bride nod episode. I think that was the end of season 6, maybe. But then you don't get steak night if you stop it that early. So I think say what you want, but steak night's fun as shit, and I'm glad it happened. So, yeah.
So the theme of this episode, a guy named George is in the hospital, and you know, a lot of people on this show, when they die, it's like unexpected or something tragic. The end of season 5, for example, maybe we'll touch on that later. But this guy George just knows that he's dying, and Turk and JD are going to go to steak night, their yearly tradition. And George, the patient that's dying, says, "My family's going to be here. whatever. They're coming. I'm going to die surrounded by my friends. You don't need to worry about me. And they find out that he doesn't have a family. So they cancel steak night and they sit with George and they talk with him all night so that he doesn't have to die alone. And they're trying to find the meaning of life. And as there's like this montage of the three of them sitting in the room talking, George in the hospital bed, Turk and JD in their street clothes, just kind of drinking and laughing, I'll Fall Into the Dark comes on. And then, you know, JD does his voiceover, George passes, and maybe, what was it? Like maybe the meaning of life is like sitting around with a bunch of friends and a cold beer or something. And
yeah, my favorite tidbit from Fake Doctors, Real Friends is when Bill Lawrence came on and was talking about like they approached him for a book deal of all the JD sayings, but then when they looked at him, they were all, it's kind of like BuzzFeed articles without the image GIFs below the sentences. It's just like a bunch of vague sentences kind of tied together. Like, in the end, your friends are your friends, and the good times, they're good, you know. And they just were having a laugh about how like some of the seasons aren't as like inspired as some of the others, but that was definitely one of the better ones. But
okay, so in this episode, actually, I found this out. It was awarded the 2009 Humanitas Prize in the 30-minute category. This prize, Humanitas, yeah, is an award for film and television writing intended to promote human dignity, meaning, and freedom. And this episode won, and that's so cool. And a couple of other things here. First of all, it's interesting that this is the song that my wife, you, me, Zach, everyone walked down the aisle to, like a metaphor for like new life. It's also could be a song for death. We did the music video episode. It could kind of be both, like new life and death at the same time. Very interesting song, written and recorded in 20 minutes, Pat. I cannot stress that enough. Your favorite
factoid of all the fun facts we've had on the show. I love it and you love it. What's interesting was he was on Jimmy Eat World's podcast. He echoed that sentiment of when he's writing and he knows it's a good one, he does feel like he's channeling it from elsewhere, which is interesting that he kind of, it wasn't just like lore about this song in particular.
Right.
Gibbard definitely feels that when he's in the zone. So very interesting.
And the last thing that I'll talk about, since he mentioned JD's voiceovers, I found a video on YouTube of someone like fed every script of Scrubs into a bot, and then they had the bot like write the last narrative, and then Zach Braff read the bot narrative in his
dreamy
JD voice, and it was so fucking funny, dude. I'll put a link in the show notes. It was a really,
and that's the thing about
joyful 90 minutes. Right? Did you see it?
A long time ago. This Twitter's like a mash in my brain of, I remember enjoying it quite a bit. I couldn't quote it to you though, if I'm being honest. My favorite for this Scrubs wiki entry is the C also is just steak, comma, a game played between JD and Turk.
What?
How do you win at steak? You just, whoever eats the most steak wins steak. Which early in the series, Turk gets the meat sweats after a dinner, a charity dinner or something. Or no, it was the Heather Locklear prescription episode or something. They go to the dinner and Turk overloads on steak. So lesson not learned. But in that episode, he also confesses that, you know what, baby, I'd do it again. Okay.
Okay, so next pick.
Yes, good pick. I got to say, I kind of knew you were going to pick that one.
Yeah,
but I kind of wanted to let you have it because I know you love it so much. So
the next one, again, super fucking obvious. Alive with the Glory of Love by Say Anything, season 6, episode 22. My Point of No Return. The reason for this episode, the episode we want to get on to. Fake Doctors, Real Friends. We danced to this song at my wedding. Like in my head, we closed the party.
Also,
down to this
I'm
song.
regretting my pick a little. I'll just jump in and say that I have some catching up to do. I know. As far as gamesmanship, I have failed on this day because those are dynamite, and I got carried away. I will say the treadmill music video is outstanding. No disrespect to OK Go. These are good picks, and just a quick off to you real quick, but also, yes, nice pick.
So I've told this story so many times, I kind of don't want to spend too much more time, but if there's any new listeners out there, my wife and I...
Well, set the scene real quick. Like, JD and Elliot, won't they king and queen of American pop culture. Just kidding. That's probably Sam and off of Cheers and whatnot. But they're laying there. I believe it's the night before, the week of the Keith wedding. Everyone's flown in on the plane, everything like that.
Kim's at home pregnant.
Kim is at home pregnant. Let's just go over. Should we ask? Let's just ask it now. I'm the one to ask it later. Is JD a good person?
No, not at all.
Is Elliot a good person?
No, but she's cuter, so she gets away with it, right?
Interesting. Do they deserve each other?
Absolutely.
Oh, interesting. Okay. It's kind of like how in The Office, people have turned on Jim and Pam.
Oh, I
and
know.
like actually now loved Dwight after the fact because he at least believed in the things he loved and wasn't too cool for stuff. No, as we go through, the pregnant Kim at home gets oft overlooked, I feel. But no, Keith is at home counting the invites, or not counting invites. They would have already been mailed at that point. But yeah, When I Watch You, I Want to Do You Right Where You're Standing comes in right after the intro to the song that we all know and love. And they're like, are we about to do something crazy? And that's like a season ender, right? Heading into the opening of the next season where I think JD has a realization where, oh my God, I don't want her. Because everyone knows JD only wants what he can't have type thing.
Right.
Damn it, this is awful. You guys do whatever the hell you want. At that point, not that they lose you in the series because you love Scrubs so much, but it's like, Jesus. It's like, who am I rooting for? I don't even remember at this point. But, or what's the line in Tina Fey's Bossy Pants where she's like, don't you remember where I'm the hero of the story? No? Oh, well, anyway, But no, it's the perfect song for the perfect moment. I lost my shit. I think we wrote a blog on our website about like, it was one of the last times I can remember running to the TV to catch something as it was airing. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Distinct memory of like, oh, fucking Scrubs is on. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta catch this. Yeah, fond memories for sure. Anyway, not to take anything away from your memories of the song itself, but one of the better scenes in the series, top 25, at least top 10 probably.
I mean, was it the season closer?
Well, that's tough because scene is too loose because that could include every flashback ever or every Todd high five. So I don't want to be that aggressive with it. Best use of music, top 15. I don't know. There's so many good ones. I'm not even, these aren't even hot takes. I'm softening them with these large numbers.
It did close down season 6 and it was huge. It felt huge at the time. Monumental, great song, right? Want to Do You Right Where You're Standing.
Which as a teen, you're like, I feel that 100%.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I understand actually at the ripe old age of 16.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like the best example, one of the very good examples on this show of how music plays into the narrative. Like, I can't imagine this not being the song that plays on the streaming version. I can't imagine I Will Follow You Into the Dark not being the song that plays.
No, granted, it's not every song. It's just some.
Right. It's just some. I know. But yes, thank you for making it clear for the audience.
Hey, my bad.
But yeah, I mean, again, fond memories for me because they both played such a huge part in my wedding. Again, I got the videos of us dancing to this song. It was like some of the most pure joy that I felt in a long time. So Scrubs or not, I had to pick it.
Yes, if this closed out season 6, then season 7 was the My Princess episode where it ends with the, as I understand it, the medieval nod to, I don't know if it's a Princess Bride nod directly or not, but logical endings. But you always want more. Season 8 was entertaining. You get steak night out of it, as we mentioned, so I'm not here to hate too hard on it. But I am curious what the spiritual ending of it. I almost want it to end after season 6 just from a standpoint of, well, JD and Elliot are together at the end of season 6, but then at the end of season 7, I think it's Cox telling a story to his child. It's like they decided to part ways or whatever. They just didn't end up together at the end of season 7, which I thought kind of made sense because their lives are chaotic as shit. And I'm not sure they were A, good people to begin with, 2, but do they kind of deserve each other type thing? I don't know. It's been a complicated, as you age and try to realize what you saw the first time, how you felt the first time you saw it type stuff. Anyway, we don't have to get too mixed up in it. But I kind of enjoyed the way they handled it with that end of season 7, I guess. Okay, I'm going to come back as a little bit stronger, I promise. Okay.
Okay.
I'll pick Augustana and their song Boston from season 5, which I will say is my favorite season. I think, and we'll maybe address it more as we continue to pick songs and talk about our Scrubs moments, but his story 3 which the His Story episodes are when they let someone else narrate, as far as I understand it. This time it's the janitor. Too, yeah, so Cox was the first to be the non-JD, I think, season 1 or 2, and then janitor this time. Basically, it's the one where he locks JD in the water tower on top of the hospital, which I guess if you think about it for too long, it doesn't make a ton of sense why there's a water tower on top of but, lets him out. He's like, hey, how's he doing? He's like, cold. And then he's like, here, stick your hand out. Let him think that there's still hope for your relationship type stuff. Anyway, JD's freezing his ass off. Augustana kind of comes in with that piano. And Turk is prepping to be a dad in the mirror, holding up a little like baby on the backpack on his front side type thing. I don't know if this is like one of the most impactful scenes or anything, but I think I've picked Augustana tunes for some of our past mixtapes.
Yeah, recently.
I fucking love this song. I think it's incredible. I was surprised to see that it made it in. And I think season 5, I'm realizing, is my favorite season because A, it's hilarious and zany, whatever. Kind of definitely in their groove of zaniness, but also it meets where we were firmly in high school discovering our musical taste, and some of these songs were directly what we were jamming to at the time. So it was like kind of this nutty, nonsensical crossroads of like my favorite comedy at the time, my favorite music at the time. It was almost too much, I don't know, like, it's like, what's not to love? I don't know. But yeah, so I think I'm going to pick Augustana Boston. Any Augustana thoughts, or janitor thoughts for that matter?
I love Neil Flynn.
What? Well, yeah, what's not to love?
I don't know Augustana like at all. I think they were on my old iTunes library or something. I don't know them at all. Couldn't sing 2 notes.
There was definitely a part in high school where I went a little more, I guess, to the scope of the show, sensey with it, and you went a little harder. To your credit, and found I guess some of the harder riffing bands and everything like that. But I could see where the Augustana would be the poster child of the split. But at this point, I think, maybe it's more well known, but the janitor being supposedly a figment of JD's imagination in the first season, even though there's a ton of holes where that didn't happen, and then he was just funny enough to keep him on as a regular or whatever. But yeah, the janitor might be one of my favorite television characters, possibly. Yeah, I think my top 10 television characters of all time are all from this show, oddly. So it's just big fan. Okay, I'll pick from season 7, my waste of time. Modest Mouse missed the boat. I feel like we don't give Modest Mouse enough love on this show. We should probably get on it at some point.
Nope.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Just kidding. Sorry, Modest Mouse. Elliot and JD are in the new muffin place in the hotel where I guess they must have just wrote in for Kelso to hang out and continue to have one-liners as he's just kind of a teddy bear version of his character eating muffins and shit. Right. But Elliot and JD are with a child. They get mistaken as parents, and they are kind of cooing and cawing at the baby, being like, oh, I could see why, blah, blah, blah. And then Turk and Carla leave them at the table in the muffin shop while Modest Mouse is playing. And they are like kind of playing house with this child in the muffin shop in the hospital. Kind of a sweet moment. A will they moment as opposed to a won't they moment, if you will. But yeah, I wanted to get a Modest Mouse pick on the record. Again, these two are more for the song choices for me, not necessarily the scenes themselves, which we talked about. But I'm also saving maybe the best for last if I can get away with it, because I'm not sure you would pick it. But okay. I'll just hang that out there. Thoughts on the muffin shop?
I loved the incorporation of that in the coffee shop, and janitor quitting his job because they offered dental there, right? Wasn't they like all pull their teeth out and stuff?
My favorite Cox moment is Neil Flynn convinces him to buy a Norah Jones CD or something like that. He's like, you know what? Actually, give me one of those. He's just like, yeah, I'll do it.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so that leaves you with still a ton of options. I'm actually I'm butchering this, but I don't even care. I'm having a good time.
All right. So an obvious one, Hey Julie by Fountains of Wayne, season 5, episode 9, My Half Acre. So we're going back. Favorite back to season, that well there.
Favorite piece of property reference on the show, other than the hospital, I guess.
So he meets Mandy Moore. And
Mandy effing Moore.
And I thought she was like the perfect girl when I was watching this at that age, at that time.
You and possibly everyone on Earth.
Right.
Except the fictional character JD. Even other fictional characters were into the Mandy Moore's character.
So, all right, the song comes. Mandy Moore's character's name is Julie, so it's a perfect song. Hey, Julie. This is the whole episode where they're doing the air band, which is such a great episode, and the song
season
starts.
5. I'm telling you, season 5 has the freaking firepower, man. It
does.
I'm not
really
sure
does.
You could sway me. But yeah, sorry, I'll cut you off.
No, I'm just thinking of Ted playing the solo for More Than a Feeling at the end.
So much thought and care put into even the smallest. Yeah, R.I.P. To the actor who played Ted. Got to stay true to the Cool Cats. A. B. Thoughts on JD, and this is kind of the building the case, leaving pregnant Elizabeth Banks at home and splitting with Mandy Moore over the saying that's so funny but not
that's
laughing
so
thing.
Funny, right?
Thoughts on that's so funny decision by JD. Not that he was an awful person, but also with the Tasty Coma wife thing in mind as well. Maybe he straight up was. What do you think?
Poor Mandy Moore. I wouldn't have done it like that. I'll tell you that much.
There are times though in the show where JD is lonely as hell, and
yeah.
You know, he's a goofball for sure. But things seem to fall into his lap in that same token. Although to his credit, to Zach Braff talking on the Fake Doctors, Real Friends, talks about how like there's an episode where he asks out Gift Shop Girl, and she says yes like miraculously, and he can't like get in the mood because he keeps envisioning what happened at work that day, that like patients and everything like that. And Zach Braff's like, I don't know. I think JD would have been fine, like forgetting work and getting with Gift Shop Girl. I'm not so sure he would have had trouble with that. So I think he even has some holes to poke, perhaps.
Right. But I mean, so the song "Hey Julie," we've talked about Fountains of Wayne, right? Adam Schlesinger,
the goat,
the goat.
Yeah.
So the song starts and JD is playing air guitar very goofily, and Kelso points at the side, no air banding, which then I was like, oh my god, this is the air banding episode.
Yeah, jokes on jokes on jokes, like almost at a 30 Rock pace at that point. I'm like, oh shit. Like JD's just being goofy, but also it plays into the whole other B story, whatever the you'd call it.
Right.
Super good. On all cylinders in season 5, every single cylinder is on fire.
Absolutely. My favorite part of the whole scene is he gets the wizard hats, and they have that painting in the room of them looking serious as with wizard hats riding a unicorn through like the stars or something. And I gotta tell you, Pat, I have always wanted to do that with my wife. And I remember at that age being like, my future wife will want to do that with me.
I'm sure Megan would, truth be told.
She probably would. I'll bring it up.
I'm curious if that's a nod to unicorns throughout the show, or unicorn maybe. One of my favorite scenes, probably ever, I think, is when he's drawing a unicorn in his journal or something, and he's thinking about the unicorn talking to him in one of his fantasies. And it's like, hello, hey, GD, blah, blah, blah. And then Cox or Kelser or somebody comes up and talks to him, and he's like still talking in that voice to the other person. And they're just like breaking like every wall possible or whatever. But it's just the love of unicorns and the voice he uses specifically for it has always tickled me. Like, I don't know. So sorry. Yeah, no, I can get that. But yeah, I got to say, one of my favorite things from that montage is them trying to get an America's Funniest Home Video blooper, right? Where like he's trying to get hit in the nuts just so, and like she's getting pretty frustrated with it, but just a terrific episode.
So that's got to be an obvious one. And okay.
Also kind of introduced me to Fountains of Wayne, I think, if we're giving Scrubs appropriate credit. You know, there was like, we've talked about this on the show before, but the whole Nick and Nora Garden State, like what you watch going hand in hand with being what you listen to and part of your identity type stuff. Watching Scrubs, I wouldn't have even really been Stacey's Mom was a hit, but then you start getting into the deeper Fountains of Wayne catalog and stuff. It's like, oh man, the thought put into some of the song choices felt important. It just felt like nothing was more important at the time. It didn't feel like. Yeah,
they got it right every time. And okay, speaking of being introduced to things, my next pick, it's going to have a hell of a lot of stories attached to it. So I want to move right along. And you can fight me on if this is even allowed, but
should we is this your last pick?
No, this is my fourth.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Season 8, janitor and lady's wedding in, to think of the Caribbean or something. And it turns into
Hawaii,
this whole
maybe.
Hawaii. And there's like the Brady Bunch, the na with the little necklace things. And God, there's a lot going on here. But during the wedding ceremony, Ted starts singing like a ukulele acoustic version of Hey Ya. And I remember that blowing my fucking mind. And there's a whole lot to this. So my story about being upstairs racking up my mom's phone bill listening to the chiptune ringtones of Linkin Park on her like old Nokia. The other half of that story is it was my mom. She did theater and they would have cast parties, and we were at our friend Joe's house. And I remember the thing that made me go upstairs is I was like, just the depressed, angsty 14-year-old or whatever. And the song Hey Ya by Outkast came on and everyone started dancing. And in my head, it was like, I can't take all this fucking happiness. So I went upstairs
Nice.
and I listened to Linkin Park.
This is an emo podcast for what it's worth if you're just joining us.
So,
that is nice. I like that.
So I hated this song for so long because it always made me think of like how disconnected I was from like the intent of the song. And hearing this acoustic version, like the original one is by Obadiah Parker, who's the stage name of Matt Weddle. He did 2 versions, like just a fully acoustic one and then one that had like strings and this whole orchestra composition behind it. But it's a very beautiful, mellow version of the song. And I think it kind of like invited me to listen to the lyrics a little bit more and like feel the emotion behind like what I just saw is like everyone like getting drunk and dancing, which really bothered me. And it gave me like a really new appreciation for this song. And it all came back to hearing it in a different light for the first time. Ted, played by Sam Lloyd, who passed away last year. I didn't realize that like he's actually in an a cappella group called The Blanks. Like that's his actual band. And I think his actual band performed it.
Not including the musical episode is one thing, but not including Sam Lloyd's dynamite performances throughout.
Right.
One of my favorite, just tiny bits in the show's history is he's like, parking, nighttime security, acquisitions management, and accounting and liability. Like he's like, oh, I got a promotion. It's about time. He's been stringing me along for months. It's such a small thing, but it's so beautiful in its own way. Yeah, R.I.P. Sam Lloyd. I couldn't think of his name earlier.
Yeah. I don't know if a cover of a cover counts, but I'm gonna say it does.
It's a good pick. I think that I really like the original Hey Ya, so I don't know if, and also like we talked about this with the Iron and Wine, not that they're parallels or anything, but the Iron and Wine cover of Such Great Heights we talk about on the show a lot, but it's almost like just slowing it down with just the acoustic. It's like, I'm not so sure. You got to make it your own. Speaking of the Shins and Scrubs and Garden State and all that, obviously, never mind. I've told you. If you listen to the show, I'm not going to tell you how much I love the Shins cover of, it doesn't matter. What, now I'm going to say it. What is it? We Will Become Silhouettes. Okay. Anyway, Yes, covers can be great. But no, I'm glad you picked it because it's worth mentioning. It's a great moment.
I mean, it's a cover of a cover, but whatever. Season 8, episode 15, My Soul on Fire, Part 2, Janitor and Lady's Wedding. A beautiful moment. Bahama Mamas, haunted necklaces. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on in these episodes. Turk and Carla.
Bill Lawrence makes his first, or maybe just one of his few appearances as like the pastor of the wedding itself.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he also weirdly just plays a different janitor in one of the season finales, probably the series finale. But yeah, they kind of go loosey-goosey towards the end of the series. But yeah, he pops up every now and again.
So there's some like Turk and Carla baby stuff that happens in this episode. And you know what? This is the perfect time to announce Megan and I are pregnant.
Oh, congratulations. I didn't even know when you were going to drop it, if ever. Congratulations,
And
man.
Pat, this is you hearing it for the first time. It's a boy.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
congratulations, man. Have you guys picked
thanks,
a name
man.
or not yet? You're still taking it?
We're looking at Jasper Fox Kelly, JFK, it turns out.
Okay. Unintentional, but strong. I like it.
I kind of just let Megan roll with it. But this isn't the me having a kid episode.
Well, it is the now. Damn.
But no. Okay. So the whole point of announcing that was a lot of my fears about what it's going to be like having a pregnant wife or a recently just having given birth wife. My fears come from some of the narratives on this show of like,
it's not as simple as just having a dog that slowly learns to talk. Is that what you're saying?
Like Carla's like full mommy mode. She's in like, Turk's all like, oh, I'm going to get on the beach with my wife. And she's in her like capri cargo shorts with like the jacket on. And, the whole point is like, oh, I wanted my sexy wife, but now she's like super modest mommy type thing. And there's, it honestly instilled a lot of fear of what it's like or what it might be like to be a father.
Well, even in that season 5, His Story 3, Turk is still wrapping his brain around. And I thought about that. Because we've been dancing around this for honestly weeks. We've front loaded so many episodes, and I've known you had guys had gotten pregnant for a little while now. And I don't think we've been like that subtle, but we haven't officially said it or anything. But I can kind of see that because Turk is very, he has to work through his own shit, as every probably guy has to work through on their own time. But man, I'm so happy for you, little boy, little baby Tom.
Right. You've known for a couple months, but just now.
I didn't know the gender. That's incredible.
And it's funny because we super, super, super wanted a girl, and we found out it was a boy. And Turk, I remember him saying, boy, 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 big, strong boy or something when they were like praying for the gender. Then they ended up having a girl, right? Or wait. Was the girl first? They had one of each, maybe? Anyway, there's like a lot of like father thoughts that I'm realizing the fears have come from Scrubs.
Sounds like a book deal to me.
Father
Get on it, book companies, publishers, book companies, what the hell? Father Thoughts by Tom.
By Aaron Matthews.
That's right.
Hey everyone, breaking in for a quick thank you to our Patreon supporters, our Council of Elders. In there we have Andre Prevost, Johnny Leftwich, and Jason Carey. Guys, thank you so much for joining our Council of Elders and supporting the show on Patreon. And thank you to all of our Patreon supporters in there for supporting the show as well. I am recording this on Thanksgiving, and I'm just eternally grateful for all of you. We really love doing this show, and it means a lot that you seem to be enjoying it as well. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/reminiscent. Check out the 3 tiers we have available there. See what works for you. If you don't want to support, no problem. We'll see you on Twitter. We love talking to you all there. Thank you again so much to all the Patreon supporters, and back to the show.
Okay. Well, damn. This has become the Tom is having a boy show. That's incredible. Okay, we'll move along.
Moving right past it.
Moving right on by it. Who even cares? What's that?
Big whoop.
Real Bros of Simi Valley thing. Tom's known this kid for what? Maybe a year? Hey, Xander, come get your boy. I've known this dude since first grade. Anyway, just having fun quoting stuff to each other. Coming here for the great radio. Let me do this. This is my 4th and 5th pick. And we'll talk about some more Brett Denny, Carey Brothers, Colin Hay, Shinzy stuff later, because we wanted to stay true to the subgenre that we talk about on this show for the sake of things. But give me Ben Lee, Catch My Disease, in my top 25 all time, I think. I freaking love this song.
I don't know that
regardless of genre or year. Season 7, My Bad 2, TOO. The episode, you may remember it best for JD sneaking the gentleman off to his own graduation and the birth of the I'm Going to Graduation, graduation song in parentheses episode, which we reference a lot on this show when a song we're covering has either an egregious or very appropriate use of parentheses. It's one of my favorite things ever. And this is the perfect in parentheses joke for it. Because, I don't know, in parentheses, the graduation song is just kind of a timeless thing. Anyway, also, Ben Lee, Catch My Disease, a music video I'd love to talk about at some point. Just a delightful Australian man, it seems. Hard not to love the song. She drinks beer with Coca-Cola, and that's the way I like it. I don't know. Feel-good song of the millennium and any other millennium. I don't know. I love it a lot. Glad you didn't pick it. I knew you weren't going to, though. So I felt pretty comfortable saving it for last. I also knew you weren't going to pick this one, but it might be from my favorite episode. And I'm kind of, this will be my fifth, and then you get one more after this one, correct? Give me Keen, Everybody's Changing. I talk about Keen a lot on this show as I think Keen got picked a lot in our mixtape draft for the laying on the floor during a pandemic draft, basically. Keen knows how to just drive the knife in any direction, right through your heart and twist hard. Every Lily Allen cover, every note, it doesn't matter who's singing it. It just makes sense. You know where you're at if you're listening to Keen. Season 5, My Day at the Races. As JD lays sore after finishing a triathlon at the finish line with Elliot in her oddly strong thighs, gives him a piggyback ride, and they fall over the finish line as he basically turns 30 at the stroke of midnight or whatever. Also in this episode, the kung fu fighting scene.
Oh my
and
God.
Safety dance.
Oh.
So just more evidence that season 5 has a ton of firepower, because one season 5 episode has a Keen scene, which is as Scrubsian, I guess, as it gets. Scrubsian? Us, whatever. Everything's awful. Sorry for everything. Kung fu fighting, safety dance, all wrapped in one. It's almost like, I don't know. There's too much. It's too much. It's so rich. It's very good. Thoughts on the I'm going to turn 30, I need to finish my list that I made years earlier TV thing?
I mean...
I guess the real question is, do you feel that way yourself? We're about the same age.
I just want to land a tray flip by the time I turn 30. I landed my first Pop Shove It 2 days ago. I started skating on my 29th birthday, essentially.
Pop Shove It, having a boy? Oh my, what a month. What a week.
Apparently, the due date is like 2 days after my 30th birthday. So,
oh, wow.
Like April
Nice.
24th, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to turn 30 possibly by when this airs. Maybe not. We're all going to be in a cabin.
Yeah.
That weekend, actually. I don't know if I've felt the need to do a triathlon. Are there any?
No,
is there any lingering
hell no.
things other than like a skateboard trick?
I've had like skydive on my New Year's Eve resolutions for like 7 years.
Would New Year's resolutions be the same type of thing you'd put on an I'm about to turn 30 thing?
Some of them, maybe.
Yeah. I don't feel like 30's that old though. I don't know. It's like, I feel like we've had a pretty good run and we can do a lot of stuff. I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be any knee-jerk things. I feel like you're about to become a dad. Our buddy Zach and I, we always used to be in a high school band together. We talk about it on the show. That's kind of why we do the show. Kind of a pre-fatherhood turning 30 weekend trip. We probably won't get 4 days together in the near future by any means, because I think we're all at that stage of life where things are going to start happening. But I'm excited, but that is kind of would be the only thing on the list, as many days, those types of visits as possible. With, you know what I mean? To the credit of the episode about George, where you're just having a beer with your good buds. But yeah, Keen brings it home every time. Damn, that kung fu fighting scene is so good.
Dude, that's the Betrayal 5 episode.
But it's the fucking Betrayal 5 episode. Exactly. He can dance if he wants to. He can leave his friends behind.
Right.
It's just so fucking good. Gleeful to pick it. Happy to pick it. Season 5 rules. Scrubs is the best. I know we'll continue talking. It's not like I'm going to stop talking after this pick. I'm talking like this is the end of the episode, so I'll just kind of put the mic down at this point. But yeah, you get one more pick to finish off your... We'll do honorable mentions after, but yeah, you get to finish your mixtape next.
I don't really have any honorable mentions, but I'm going to keep it in season 5 for the season finale, which is, dude, it rocks me every time. Season 5, episode 20, My Lunch. Ooh. There's a few people in the hospital who have all had organ failure. And, you know, lucky day, someone dies, good candidate. So 4 of his organs go out to other people in the hospital. Everything's great. But it turns out everyone just fucking dies all at once. And the patient had rabies, who gave the transplant to people. And everyone that received their organs died. And there's a scene where... You know, 3 people have died, and JD, he's in the lunchroom with Dr. Cox, and he's like trying to just like, hey, you know, it happens. Like, let's just have lunch. You know, they're coming off like him finally agreeing to have lunch with JD. They get a call, another guy's dying, and there's this scene like How to Save a Life by The Fray comes in. This is not a song that I would like normally just want to put on. But again, it's one of those things where like the scene is so intense and then this fucking song just starts and I get like chills all over. Dr. Cox is like using the paddles to try to resuscitate a patient. It happens 3 times. Carla has this like blank, kind of scared, mostly blank look on her face as Dr. Cox fails to like revitalize the dude, throws the machine. And it's, dude, I'm like getting chills just talking about it right now.
It's
like,
up. It's
my
up for sure.
God, dude, it is the heaviest moment in television that I can think of off the top of my head. And it like haunts me how good, like, so Dr. Cox, like his whole shtick is that he's a robot with, you know, programmed to not feel emotions, just deliver witty comebacks, you know? And then you see him be human and it fucks with you. Like it is so, ooh.
The heaviness the hospital gets you.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, man.
And credit to, I don't think they wrote it, but they performed the hell out of it. The lyrical, I don't know, we have kind of teetered on bands like The Fray and OAR and stuff, and some of those bands that aren't necessarily pop punk emo, whatever, you know, we'll expand the show when we run out of stuff if that ever happens. But you know, sometimes we talk about bands that kind of get not laughed off now, but end up in those like Facebook. Remember the year 2005? What a fucking year that was. You know what I mean? Like, but it's kind of not to compare them to Creed or Nickelback or anything, but it's like, say what you want, but everybody was super into the fucking Fray and this song at the time. You know what I mean? Like we were there. You know, like don't pretend like you weren't rocking out to at least everybody went 4 deep with the Fray. I'm very confident of that. So just credit where credit's due. Perfect song for the perfect scene. Of course it hits. They didn't have any other option. They knew what they were doing when they put it together. And a devastatingly beautiful piece of television, right? And kind of like what ended up being the Scrubs calling card, like the ability to go from so zany to so devastating, you know, on a dime, kind of.
Right.
Which my roommate in college used to argue that like, it's always ends up sad somehow, which I'm like, that's not true. Like, but towards the end, maybe it's kind of a crutch, you know, joking about how vague kind of the wrap up monologues get and everything like that. Like if a show goes 9 seasons, you're going to have some, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, season 5, episode 20, again, it's in season 5. It's the best season, I think. Not that it's not even close, but damn.
Also like the shift of power from Dr. Cox to JD, where like JD is trying to like coach Dr. Cox into being the man that he thinks it. Yeah, they were on.
Well, it's early in the series where, you know, Cox's psychiatrist at the time is like, whoever gets this reaction out of you is nothing short of a miracle worker, and you need to keep that person in your life or whatever. So you see from pretty early on that like, for whatever reason, JD's like has an effect on Cox that is a special bond for sure. Yeah, it's a good pick. Damn the Fray. Damn you, the Fray. But a good pick. You want me to read through the ones that I thought might qualify but didn't quite? It's stuff that kind of still shaped our. And again, we're not going to go into the ABBA or the U2 or whatever. But again, obviously a great this Garden State kind of launching. I've said it before in the show. I'll say it again. I don't think Nick and Nora's playlist happens without Scrubs and Garden State. Like it became kind of cool for this music to matter, at least to us. I don't know. Like the fact that Dashboard Confessional played to rooms that were booing him the whole time for the first couple of years he was touring. That dude should have been so much more famous. I'm like, the decade changed, as we've covered on the show extensively. But I think, honestly, we didn't just do Scrubs. Obviously, they'd be cool if we got on their show. But it's worth noting that like some of these pieces of pop culture were important in at least shaping our views of things. But these were some songs that are on the fringe of what we talk about on the show. But Foo Fighters, Learning to Fly, season 4, My Unicorn. Jet, Are You Gonna Be My Girl, season 5, My Intern's Eyes. I think that's Keith's introduction. 5 for Fighting, 100 Years, season 5, My Half Acre. That might be when like we see them as old people, but then at JD and Mandy Moore had just dressed up as old, and then they take the makeup off, just like a really cheap visual gag that is just fucking hilarious. Coldplay, Fix You, season 5, My Cabbage. I don't know if Coldplay counts for the show, but again, similar to all the other bands that you like kind of get laughed off now, like No, we were there, man. You guys were into it. Coldplay's biggest. You know, they're a good, important band. I think like, I don't know, whatever that Chuck Klosterman book is where he like famously rips Coldplay just because some girl he would liked at the time went to a concert instead of going on a date with him or something.
That's why I hate Modest Mouse.
Hey, well,
it was a music producer went to that concert instead of recording our band.
The fighting continues. I fuck with Modest Mouse. Season 5, new suit. Ben Folds still fighting it. A song that in college, every year in college, I would be not sober and find this song on my birthday and listen to it and be like, just shamelessly, just like feel the feels, courtesy of Mr. Ben Folds. Season 5, no episode listed here in the notes as we get down here, but Sideways by Citizen Cope. Remember Citizen Cope? Even on the Accepted soundtrack as well. Had a moment for sure. Heavy. Season 6, My No Good Reason. Ain't No Reason by Brett Dennen. Pretty good singer-songwriter stuff there. One of those definitely would not have known about him without the show. Similar to the Carey Brothers, Blue Eyes. Season 4, My First Kill, also in Garden State. Colin Hay, his solo stuff, I don't think anybody from our generation would have been like, yeah, I can't wait for the new Colin Hay record. But obviously Scrubs changed that. Overkill, Season 2, My Overkill. What a fantastic song. Maybe my favorite song, like if you're totaling up song plus use of song in the show, I don't know, Overkill by Colin Hay has to be up there for me. And then of course, Shin's New Slang. It's listed on Scrubs Wiki as both being in Season 1, My Blind Date or My Balancing Act. I'm not sure what the mix-up is there. Also in Garden State, obviously, when the soundtrack with the Shins being heavily featured there. Not cool enough to claim I would have known about the Shins without the help of whoever was behind. Obviously, Braff was involved with Garden State and things like that. I think they were all hanging with Bill Lawrence's wife and picking music into good into cool stuff. Cooler than we were, for sure. So thanks to Scrubs for kind of letting us watch our favorite TV show and have occasionally the most important scenes be like, have the backdrop be and say anything and stuff. It was just
right.
A legitimate thrill, I guess, right? And be silly and goofy and devastating and real and just terrific. Shamelessly my favorite show of all time. I don't know, Tom. I'm glad. I don't know if this was the full, like, earn the redemption tour that we wanted it to be, but I would attempt it again and again. I think as we, like, every 2 years we'll come back and do a Scrubs episode of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, it was such an important episode, and, like, I feel bad for how badly we butchered it, and it meant a lot to, like, be able to talk about Scrubs in a way that still fit what the show is now. So couldn't really be happier about any of it.
Yes. I've been watching it a little bit during the pandemic, and my wife has been coming in. You start to realize, like, stuff you've kind of worked into your own vernacular from stuff you watch. That was something my dad always did.
Yeah.
As I, like, watched some of his favorite movies over the years, I'm like, that's where that's from. You know what I mean? You're like, he's just been quoting this whole time. It's just this, like, smorgasbord of cultural references, Mel Brooks, Monty Python, and things like that. Like, he used to do the chop and broccoli every day, and I didn't realize till years later, watching like SNL audition videos on YouTube, watching the Dana Carvey stuff after his like Marin episode or whatever, and I'm like, oh my god, my dad's just been ripping off Dana Carvey for like decades. Just devastated by it. But
right.
Anyway.
We had something the other day with That Boy Was Me. I knew that I didn't make it up, but it was from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when he does the musical, and he's like, that little boy was me.
And that boy was me.
So there's tons of that for sure.
Your son's going to come out of your wife's womb, not to get too dirty with it, but he's going to be singing and say, and that boy was me. The boy was him.
Old Jasper.
The boy that was.
Right.
Old Jasper. That's fucking incredible. I can't believe you slipped that in just mid-episode without, like, we didn't exactly note that in the Google Doc. And then Tom will announce the gender of his baby. Like, that was unplanned, very off the cuff. I'm still kind of in shock. Like, we didn't fully address it for the sake of the show. We won't drag it out too long, but couldn't be more excited. That's legitimately incredible.
And let me just say to the listeners of this show, I have told my parents, Pat and Zach, and pretty much no one else, and I kind of don't even I'm not going to do like an announcement. We're not going to do an Instagram post. I'm probably not even going to tell my aunts and uncles, dear listener, you are more important to me than my own family.
Yes, hundreds of strangers. thousands, I guess, at this point.
Millions.
I know we made a deal. Yeah, millions. We said we weren't going to talk about numbers on the show, but things have been fun for us over the last year. Thanks to, if you're here, thank you very much. But yeah, you all know that Tom's going to be a dad of a little baby boy. How exciting. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I don't really have much, I don't have any like insightful things to say other than yay.
All right. Well, let's do Song of the Week and post show. And then the next episode that goes out, we're going to be together. So
we're going to be together. I'm going to be turning 30. You're going to be a daddy.
And it's going to be episode 200, Pat.
Yeah. We'll probably have our buddy, I think we know this much, that our buddy Zach will probably be with us at the cabin. And we are probably going to lay something down about our high school band because some of you have expressed interest about learning more. So we might do one of those, but then follow it up with a little more regularly scheduled programming after that. Maybe a 2005 draft or something of that nature.
Yeah,
if we can swing it, and we might edit this to adjust if I'm getting that wrong.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, we're going to be able to say that our show has been more music focused than not. That's going to be a fun moment to hit. Like there's more of the bad show behind us. Right?
That's an important milestone, of which there was a lot. When we started, I was in Cleveland. You were in the DC area. I had not moved in with my now wife yet. And you had not moved to Denver yet, where you've been for a few years. I went to Cincinnati, now North Carolina. You're coming to North Carolina as well. Different cities, but very close.
You know what? Let's talk. Yeah. Let's do all that in the post show because
let's do it. Let's do it in the post show. So much
has happened, but I'm going to give a song of the week. This song,
yes, please do.
This song was announced or released the day we did the dance mixtape draft, and it was so perfect. Grayscale put out a song called Diamond, and it's a song all about dancing. It's a really fun kind of boppy. It's more of a summertime jam. But honestly, I get happier. I want to move more when the weather is nice outside. We've got like perfect fall weather in Denver right now. Although, of course, when this episode goes out, I'll be living in North Carolina. But at the time being, it's like high 60s and overcast in Denver. It makes me want to dance. So this song and that playlist came out at just the right time.
Well, I hope your journey from one mountain chain to another is smooth. And give me The Speed of the Sound of Loneliness by Kurt Vile. I'm not always in the mood for Kurt Vile, but sometimes I am. That's it. That's my analysis. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for the war on drugs, but sometimes I am.
Okay. Okay.
If you like it, it's a good version of it. He's doing his thing.
Okay. I don't know any of that, so
it's all good.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you in episode 200 for the Patreon supporters. You can find us in the post show. You know where to find that. Patreon.com/reminiscent, and hit us up on Twitter @_reminiscentfm. Let us know your 5 favorite songs that came out in Scrubs, favorite moments, favorite characters.
Oh, actually, I should have done this at the beginning. I don't think we've ever asked anything of you before. Could you tweet at Donald Faison and Joel and Zach Braff for us and ask them if we never asked you to come out in full force before? We should have done it at the beginning, I guess. This is kind of shameless, so maybe we keep it at the end, Tom, in the edit, because I don't want it to be too upfront. But if you're still listening, if you don't mind tweeting at them and being like, hey, put them on the Point of No Return episode and let them talk about say anything. We don't even want to do it for long. We're not even like, hey, give us cheap fame. We want on the next. Yeah, just give us a quick, we can do a pre-recorded thing, let you know that we love you guys and that we want to talk about Say Anything for just a minute and how fucking awesome that scene was. Yeah, we actually blogged about it. You can check out our website if you want to watch our season 6 finale breakdown. Anyway, on to the post show. Thanks everybody. Love you so much.
We'll talk to you next week. Love you, everyone. Love you, Pat. See you.
Love you.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. You can find the links to the playlist on Apple Music and Spotify on our website at reminiscentpodcast.com/episode/199. Please hit us up on Twitter at _reminiscentfm and let us know which songs from your favorite episodes would make it onto the Scrubs soundtrack mixtape draft. Thank you all so much. Hope you had a great holiday. We'll see you next week. Love you all. Bye.